can I do for you? Fear wants the answer to be manageable. Fear wonders if this pain is the heart screaming for oxygen or a tumor compressing a nerve. Fear orders tests. Fear takes x-rays and says, your doctor will explain what this means to you later, and rushes out, turning away from the patient. Fear is left to worry alone on the cold table. I have bad news to share. Fear wants to escape this room. Fear doesn't give silence its due place. Hoping time will move faster, fear rattles off options of treatment, follows protocol. You qualify for this trial. Fear stops listening to this news, sinking instead into the chair, through the chair, falling to the bottom of a dark well. The words arrive muffled, the ears waxed shut, the mind spinning, the chest empty. Will you care for me? Fear stays technical, keeps within the guidelines. This makes healthcare safe for the patient, but also for the clinician. Fear finds safety in the distance of the protocol, even as courage calls for bridging this distance, for joining the patient in this most common of fates. Courage wants to say, I will care for you, but fear hesitates. From the bottom of the well, courage looks up and raises her hand toward the light, hoping that a caring clinician's hand will reach back. And then a touch, a hold, a pull, not alone, care. Fear fuels industrial healthcare. Like greed, it too aligns against caring. Fear processes people, grants access to and delivers ruthlessly constrained care, aligns perverse incentives and constrains acceptable outcomes. Fear tells you to complete the form and fulfill the protocol, even as your heart calls for something more human, for an exception. Fear limits curiosity for the other, makes us look the other way, walk away from what is difficult, thinks they are working on fixing it, even when we know they are not fixing what is wrong. Fear teaches safety in silence, particularly if the only power we have is our truth. Even when we sense that healthcare should care better, fear invites us instead to appreciate what we have. When this is unacceptable, fear demands that we improve or innovate anything except for the fundamentals of industrial healthcare. Fear clouds the vision and confuses the will of those who, at least for a moment, begin to find the nerve to utter different words. Eventually, fear bites your tongue until you have no voice. And yet, fear also makes us care. Fear does not arise from indifference. Fear elbows us in the gut to get our attention. Fear makes us notice. Fear may not know the answer, but it signals that there is a question that we should be asking. Fear is not alone. Courage is there to turn us towards that question, towards its doubt, its pain, its darkness. Courage hesitates before simply taking the next procedural step. Courage dares us to offer an open hand and reach out to the hand that may be seeking us. If fear makes us notice, courage gives empathy its hand and makes us care. Industrial healthcare, however, instills fear in those called to care while rendering courageousness nonsensical, silly, misplaced, unseemly, wrong. Clinicians paralyzed by fear become locked in, capable of noticing but unable to respond. Moral injury ensues, callousness follows, then cruelty. Patients learn to dread healthcare interactions, afraid to be ignored, managed, or harmed by the standardized response. People who dare to care are ultimately conned by industrial healthcare into believing that courage is rare and extraordinary. We have all heard fear tell stories of how larger-than-life people, only then, have changed the world. Tales in which only heroes who made extraordinary sacrifices ever made a difference. We have seen fear draw out a ledger to remind us of how much we have to lose. We have had fear use a mirror to point out how ordinary we are. So different from those heroes. Read those stories again, said courage. Ordinary people built those cathedrals.